Miracle Principles 23 and 24. Miracle Principle 23. Miracles rearrange perception and place all levels in true perspective. This is healing because sickness comes from confusing the levels. The true perspective is that all things are of the mind. As problems are made in the ego mind, they are corrected with your right mind. This is why you never want to dismiss your mind completely, for if you do, you are dismissing the solution which is held in your right mind. Now, sickness comes from confusing the levels of cause and effect. Cause is at the level of your mind, and the effect is the level of physicality and emotion. Just to clarify, love and fear are more than emotions. They are thought systems. Their effects, like happiness or sadness, are emotions. Now, sickness comes from mistakenly putting the effect before the cause, meaning we think the body is more powerful than the mind. This is another ego tactic. To keep us thinking that we are the body and not the mind. The ego wants to distract us from knowing that we are the mind because it knows that if we knew that we are the mind, we could make the decision in our minds to turn away from the ego. And that is, of course, very threatening to the ego, which survives through our belief in it. So the ego keeps our focus on the effect. This is level confusion, where you think that the world and the body and sickness and disease and death are all coming at you, when actually these ideas are coming from your mind. Whereas the Holy Spirit would have us put our focus where it all belongs, the mind. The Holy Spirit is always going to remind us that we are the decision maker, where through our minds we choose between the ego and spirit. And it is through our consistent choosing of spirit over the ego that we inevitably become enlightened and leave the ego's thought system altogether. Miracle Principle 24. Miracles enable you to heal the sick and raise the dead because you made sickness and death yourself, and can therefore abolish both. You are a miracle, capable of creating in the likeness of your Creator. Everything else is your own nightmare and does not exist. Only the creations of light are real. In this principle, we are being reminded of just how powerful we are. It is through the ego mind that we made sickness and death. The power is that just as we made sickness and death, we can abolish both. We are the decision makers, always choosing between the Holy Spirit and the ego. When we choose the Holy Spirit, we are reminded of our innocence and that we are eternal spirit, one in God. This true part of ourselves can never be sick, nor can it ever die. Within this body, it is possible for our minds to become advanced enough that we can raise the dead or heal the sick, just as Jesus did. At that point, though, we will be so aware of the Holy Spirit's voice that we will know what to do should anything be done. With the Holy Spirit, your life just flows beautifully. As we are taught in this principle, we are a miracle in the sense that we have been created by our source. We are perfect love. Everything else that we see in this world is an illusion, a nightmare of our own making, and as stated clearly here, does not exist. Only what Source created is true, which includes our true identities. As I have shared many times, there is a part of our minds that knows this to be true, and the miracles we welcome reflect that truth.